Yes, I know. I got force in here. I'm just waiting. Okay, the chief. And I don't think we're live yet.
Who moved that we come out of camera?
Brad did.
Good.
Who else?
Here's Gord. Dan, are we on?
How come I don't show a picture?
The delay.
Is it? Okay. I'll call the meeting to order, and I'll accept
So moved, Your Worship.
a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the agenda. All in favor? Carried. First item only item on the agenda is the new school site, and it's been brought forward by administration. Would you like to come forward, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. The following consideration support a school site in Edgeview. Firstly, services and utilities will be at the property line of the school joint use site. Secondly, there are no deadlines as to when the school needs to be constructed. The school will be located in a community where development is ongoing and occurring. As such, the school site supports the overall development of that community. The site will be designed by the developer to accommodate a school. No further site preparation work or cost will be assumed by either the school district or the town. And there is no additional liability to the school division or the town for boundary conditions, save for perhaps a small portion between Edgefield and the canal. And there is development certainty because the school site will be dedicated as municipal school reserve and the title transferred to the school division and the town. Recognizing that a school designed for a specific site cannot be transferred to another site. And last but not least, we believe that there is certainty on the payment of off-site levies.
Are there any questions?
Question.
Councillor Sobel?
Thank you. Thank you for that. So obviously there was a choice the council has to make between two potential sites, and one of the issues that arose in regards to both sites obviously is the issue of traffic and traffic access, etc. Whereas the site we are not discussing was deemed to be fairly good in regards to traffic flow and traffic access. Can you comment on what administration would think of the potential traffic issue at this site, the Edgefield site?
Well, given the master servicing plan and the need to connect a roadway from George Freeman Trail eventually to Highway 1, I believe that's the configuration. We need another arterial road through that community, and we anticipate probably the best place to put that roadway is on the boundary between Edgefield and Prairie View, which is just south of the canal. There's 47 acres there. That road would continue eastward and eventually south, and it may actually continue north as well in a general configuration to provide a road roughly, I'm going to say, at least roughly a quarter mile east of George Freeman Trail as a function as a collector / arterial. Probably an arterial for a short distance connecting to a collector. That will serve the school site, and we anticipate, although we have no commitments at this time, that in the interim, that would be the first phase of that arterial road would be built on the Edgefield property, and eventually a portion could be built on the property to the north.
Great, thank you.
Any questions? Councillor Peterson, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. In the proposed recreational field house that was to be included with the building of a new school in our community, and now in a different location than we'd originally anticipated or possibly anticipated, do you think that that we'll be able to provide a comprehensive notice to the Edgefield community, to future inhabitants of the Edgefield, in a way that will allow them to make good decisions in terms of where they're going to build?
I think that'll happen through at least two processes, both of which will be public over and above this discussion this afternoon. There will be a formal amendment to the area structure plan with the public notice. There will also be a land use bylaw amendment, probably concurrent with subdivision. And typically we wouldn't circulate a subdivision application to adjoining property owners where there isn't a subsisting area structure plan, but certainly the area structure plan amendment and land use bylaw amendment will raise the profile of that subdivision application as well.
And so the proposed field house is still definitely a go. That's not changed.
Yeah.
For the idea of it, at least at this time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Further questions? If I might, we're going to be needing some traffic lights at the proposed site for the school onto George Freeman Trail.
We would anticipate, yes, a
Okay,
traffic light.
what are we looking at in regards to the options?
I would defer to the director of engineering on that question.
Your Worship, Gordolenko, the Director of Engineering. I think the idea of the main access off of George Freeman into that subdivision at the location that would be associated with the proposed school site would be the best location to have a set of traffic signals there. That would be the best place to bring safely pedestrians across, and there would be added traffic pressure at that intersection, so that would be a good location. And the existing roadway that's built as accessing to George Freeman, there would likely be less traffic pressure ultimately at that location, but there would still be pedestrian crossings, and we would want to potentially use a pedestrian crossing there rather than a full traffic signal until such time as a full traffic signal might warrant some time in the future.
Who would be responsible for the costs in regards to that?
The costs of the signals are generally part of the development plan, so that's usually borne by the developer, and sometimes that's in advance of when they would be warranted by a traffic study, and so sometimes those would be put in advance of when they were warranted, and generally that would be a cost that might be shared with the town.
Okay, good to know. Pearson?
I'm ready to move a motion, Your Worship.
If I might just ask one further question of our development officer, just a quick question, if I might. There was a possibility that an adjoining developer could also share in regards to this site. And I do believe that the administration had contacted the developer. And I was just wondering if there was any sort of a response from that developer.
I didn't receive a response. I don't believe.
No response? Okay.
There was a couple of comments from John Gulak, but it was pretty general.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'll any further questions? No? I'll entertain a motion then.
Thank you, Worship. I would move that council authorize administration to negotiate a memorandum of understanding with Polico. That memorandum of understanding would facilitate the construction of a school site and field house on 12 acres of land within the Edgefield area structure plan. And I'd like to speak to the motion, Your Worship.
Please, go ahead.
So first of all, I'd like to thank administration and for the work that they had to do, considerable work that they had to do in the last bit, and also thank the developers for their patience, and I appreciate that happened. And I just also like to say that this shouldn't in any way detract from the town's interest in continuing to cooperatively move forward with Prairie's Edge and Brett Wilson in the building of future development, including schools. And I thank you, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Deputy Mayor Bulklin?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to speak against this motion. My reasons are because even though I realize the dome is the kicker in this thing for the school site, Hillview location to me is a logical site. There should be no deadlines there. The community is well established. Roads, pedestrian crossings are in place. It's a much safer area right from the start. There is no residential community construction going on. I would suggest that we continue to work with this developer or both these developers on the next school site, with obviously with the dome being part of that plan.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Walls?
Your Worship, to Dr. Stanford, do we have any type of idea as to when this school will be built, or if one's going to be built?
Golden Hills were notified probably, I'm guessing, last summer about it. And maybe a month or two off, but somewhere in the winter time, they received a letter. They'd be receiving a check for the design of the school and the preparation. I'm told that they've received the check to do that. And so anyway, when will the school be built? Probably hinges a bit on the budget coming up on May the 5th as well.
Thank you. Councillor Field?
Thank you, Your Worship. While I appreciate Councillor Blokeland's comments, I think we need to keep in mind one of the things that the superintendent of schools mentioned, and that is, yes, Strathmore has been approved for a potential K-9 school, but the fact that a partnering could exist with the town on a field house to link the two structures and ideas makes us a more palatable or acceptable town to receive a new school. So yes, we could say stay with Hillview, but then we might drop farther down the list, or as far as their desires to put a school here, we may not be seen as desirable a location. So what this does, the idea of having one in Edgefield, what it does is it accomplishes a few things. It helps us be more attractive as a potential school site. It helps bring recreation not only to the town, that is much needed in a field house for indoor soccer and lacrosse and things, but it also provides a very good amenity for the housing that's already starting to go in Edgefield. So I would hate to see us not pursue this matter in the way we're thinking, because it may make us fall down as far as being a desirable community for an approved school by the government to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Peters?
Thank you, Worship. Mr. Stanford, and did Superintendent Davern have any input into this and your conversations with him into what site he preferred?
Definitely, he's attended pretty well every meeting we've had with my management team, with Brett and so on. And the one sheet that Werner covered, the smaller list, he put that he's the one that wrote it out at a meeting for us.
So thank you, Dwight. And so in saying that, and I certainly respect what Councillor Blockland is saying with regards to Hillview, and I think that in the future that probably will be a viable site, particularly for a smaller environment, K-6 school perhaps in the future. But I also believe that Superintendent Bevan Davern is the expert in knowing what the needs of the school population is. And so I'm really comfortable in moving ahead, speaking for this motion, because I do believe that he has a really good sense of what the community school population most needs and where that need is.
No further question, no further discussion. If I may just ask a question. The motion talks about a memorandum of understanding, and is that agreement, will that agreement be brought back to council for final approval?
Yes.
Then I will support the motion, knowing that the memorandum of understanding is going to be coming back to council. for further consideration. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, pardon me? No? No. All in favor? Carried. Opposed? Thank you.
Worship, I move to adjourn the meeting.
We have a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Carried.